Alright, so now we're moving on to Ryu, and people have been pretty hyped for this character's um, buffs from what I've seen, but I'm gonna be giving my personal opinion on it as always, but we'll break down everything. But the one change that I do like, if I there we go, we have the right change. So we spawn in the middle. On the patch notes, this move's hit detection for the opponent to block has been increased. So the further out the opponent is, it will be put into a block animation much further out when this move actually starts to get thrown out, which means a lot more than you think. And I believe only Ryu players would know this. So if we have Luke jump here, he blocks right there. But let me note a few things first. I am not in any way in sweeping distance nor low forward distance. And Luke can walk away from that, obviously, right? But now he has to block here, even though I'm beyond like sweep distance. When beforehand, whoops. See how far I am? I'm hitting at the very tip of Ryu's solar plexus, and Luke is having to sit in place and block that and take it. Now, albeit at that distance, like, I can't really do much here, even if it was blocked or connected. But it does mean, it's significant in this way, because beforehand, at that distance, Luke would be able to walk back freely. And since this move has a lot of not only startup but ending lag, you would get hit by that. You would get hit. You would get punished for it, right? And well, we already know what this character right here can do. So that can lead to like 40, 50% and possibly the game too. So it was almost never good to throw this out in neutral at all, even if this did put you into plus frames on hit and block. But now it's more viable in neutral, or in the mid-range at least, which, by how much? It won't change much, personally, in my opinion. I mean, it's definitely now more worth it to throw this out if you do find the opponent like more in a grounded setting right now during the midst of the game. But if your opponent is constantly like in the air jumping and shit, you know, it won't be in your best decisions to, it's not the best decision to just throw this out, because you will get fucked for that shit. But for the most part, now if you do catch the opponent like walking and playing that turtle game, once you throw this out, well, actually, yeah, let's test this out as he walks back here. He's now forced to block that, and he's not able to just continuously step a few inches back and then just punish you for it, especially with this character, since all his moves tend to, you know, lunge him forward, which it's good for Ryu to have, so he's not gonna eat eat a punish once he throws this out. And in the corner, since they're gonna be put in block stun, they won't be able to just jump out right away. That's if they're already not in the air, which you still have to account for these things too, whether your opponent is even standing still long enough for you to throw this out and have them block or even eat it. But, you know, it's a nice change to have. Now, what else? Here's another thing I wanted to discuss, the light Hasho. And we're going to Yeah. And I have him block. It went from -4 to -3. And this change was one of the more significant ones that people have highlighted on Twitter, other than the heavy version, which we're going to discuss in a sec. However, this move is still useless, in my opinion, because, you know, beforehand, like, I mean, obviously, you would lose your turn, but you would also get punished for it too, which it's not good at all to even throw this in the block stun, or it doesn't get you shit. You didn't get shit out of it. And on counter hit, it flung the opponent into a juggle state, I believe. But the damage was low, so the reward for throwing this out was very, very little, and the risk was very high. And it still hasn't changed in my eyes, even though you won't immediately get punished for it. There's still things to consider, right? So check this out. You still have to worry about getting thrown, because you'll be so close to the opponent where you're in throw range. I mean, you're able to block. Oh, that was my fault. I got hit there. So there's still no reason for this move to be thrown out, in my opinion, even on block, because you still lose your turn, and you're close enough for the opponent to throw you. Versus what I typically see, or even myself, even like a regular string in on your opponent that's just not mashing, because obviously I would get clipped if I were to throw this out and get hit. But let's say the opponent was just eating everything on block, right? It would typically go like this. Something, well, let's turn this off. It would be something like that, right? And even though I would be that much further away from my opponent, and my pressure would be over pretty much, like we would be back into neutral, I don't have to worry about the opponent, you know, being close enough to throw me, right? And check this out too. If they decide to like do anything, well, I can punish them for that shit. I can punish them. And I can still block too, and I'm further away. Which, to me, it's better to be in that situation versus this. Because now I actually have to worry about taking that grab. And then it's their turn again. I fucked that up. But I hope people see what I'm getting at. To me, it's just not worth, you know. It's not, this is not worth anything to me still. Now, something that I did think about, like beforehand, was during this specific setup, which actually, yeah. God damn it. Well, actually, we want that on too. block after first hit. Well, actually, I should showcase the frames beforehand. This setup would leave you plus, right? +2. So I believe, I mean, it gives you, if I remember right, this setup would give you an extra frame advantage over the opponent. So you would be +1, right? And what you would be able to do was, if they hit a button or try to contest you with a button or any action, you would actually clip them and you would get a combo from there in, you know, whatever way you want. And just having that extra frame, you know, it's nice to have. So I guess now with the new changes, since you have more of a frame advantage there by a frame, it's a nice quality of life thing to have. But overall, Ryu really hasn't, well, maybe before we get down to the conclusion of it, we need to discuss this. So the heavy Hasho now leaves you within range to throw the opponent, which it's nice to have. It's definitely, I mean, it's better than, you know, being at this distance to where your only option was just a standing light kick. It's just okay to me, really. It's not anything that will really be that significant to Ryu, in my opinion, because this move is already still susceptible to, I believe you can jump out of this. Let's test this out right now, because I almost never use this move at all, because every time I have, it would always be just countered, DI'd and shit. Block, reversal, let's see. I mean, I won't be surprised if they are able to jump out of it, because I know there's no way to truly be in a tight block string connecting it. Let's do forward jump. So yeah, you're able to jump out of it. And on Denjin, okay. So the unbuffed meterless heavy Hasho is still kind of okay if the opponent is not getting hit by it. If they block it, I mean, now they're already gonna preemptively know, alright, I might get thrown for this shit, right? Or I might get caught with a low. It's nothing big, in my opinion. Yeah, Ryu can just step out and shimmy that shit, but or actually, I don't even know. Yeah, I still have to, I can't shimmy out if they decide to block, but let's see if I can shimmy out. God damn it. mean, I guess it's nice to have, but it's nothing significant to me, because it's not gonna change Ryu overall for what he is already. You know, he's still gonna have like kind of the struggle of being a very mid character. But don't get me wrong, I love playing this character. I love Ryu. I've been playing him since fucking Street Fighter 2, but I was just kind of hoping that, you know, he would get something that, you know, actually, you know, places him closer to, like, you know, the characters that we consider to be like the top. Because this is still that not much better than, let's say, well, actually, it's not even better than fucking Ken's heavy Dragon Lash still, because that shit Ken fucking flies from like mid-screen, and if it hits you, you know, then you eat the mix there. And let's see what special move super arts, record, common actions, backdash. There we go. He can still backdash from that shit. Yeah, he can still backdash from that shit, so. It's not anything crazy in my opinion. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still better to have, but Ryu's definitely needs something else that you know, he needs something a lot more than what this will mean in his overall like balance as a character. Now his EX Hasho hitbox has been expanded forward. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that the medium has been changed, but it's only been like hitbox changes and stuff. So basically, like, you know, the hitbox has been improved so it reaches out further forward and it connects with projectiles easier. And the same with Hasho. Oh, I actually should note this about the EX one though. Oh, and also, before I move on to that too, block call. This also has the same buff too. So I can throw here. So that's good at least. Now the unbuffed EX Hasho, I'm not in range to throw. I am +3 though. It's always been like that, but it would be nice if this at least got the same treatment. But as you can see there, it's not the case. However, the EX, the Denjin EX Hasho, I am in throw range, and I'm more +2, but the issue is being that I still have to give up Oki at some point to get this on, and then, you know, get close enough to do this for mix. And then there's always that. Whoops. Hang on. They can always still backdash out of that shit, so. And the last two changes, the size of the hurt box around the arms have been reduced, and the size of the hurt box around the arms have been reduced for his level 1. So, you know, less punishable there, which I kind of did notice that it was really easy to punish. If you did get a good read on Ryu, like, he is very vulnerable. He is very vulnerable. He's easy to hit. Now, now that we went through all of that, overall, I mean, it's good. It's good to see that they've only been buffs. Like, he hasn't gotten nerfed in any way, but I was kind of hoping to see that there would be something more significant to him that would make him, you know, that would just like bring him up closer to like the characters that we deem to be like dummy broken, like DJ, Luke, and fucking JP, for example. I mean, you know, he's a character that's meant to be catered towards like newcomers and stuff, people that are just getting into Street Fighter. So he's gonna be as simple as he can be. This is just the part of me as like a diehard Ryu fan wishes they could see, because I've been playing this character since like fucking Street Fighter 2. I've been a Shoto main since, is what I can say. So in some universe, I know that there's a universe out there in which this character was fucking like god tier, and then, you know, everyone's happy, but he's still roughly flowing around the same area he is. Whatever you may find him to be, I don't know, maybe you guys have a different opinion on it. To me, he's still relatively in the middle in my eyes. If we were to look through the lens of like a tier list per se, he's still roughly in the middle in my eyes. He's not bad, like, at all in my eyes. Like, the only thing I could say that was bad, like, I don't even know if I broke it down, like, his EX, I think I already mentioned this before, but like his EX Shoryu, like the first hit the first hit of this shit, it would connect, and then like the second hit would like whiff, and then the opponent would get knocked in the ground. They would get up before I would land, and then I would get punished for that shit, which was the most infuriating thing when it did happen, because I would lose matches from that shit. But at least this now, it has been taken care of. His damage is still good. His fireball, is still good, I guess. This shit now is, I guess, a lot more useful in some way. They're forced to block this now. This, you won't get immediately clapped for it. Or this. Well, actually, you would never get clapped for this shit. If it did hit. The only way you would get clapped is if they just fucking jumped out of that shit. Or DI'd, which, you know, you're still able to get DI'd. Unless you had this to cancel into it. Or, yeah, you need the EX1 to cancel into level 2. But other than that, he's still gonna be the same character. Like, I don't see him being played any more different. Maybe for like the first week or two, everybody's just gonna be throwing this out, and knowing that you're much closer, you're just gonna see people just hitting the throw a lot more now. And something that I previously mentioned in like the Ken video was that the old throw loops that Ken used to have, Ryu still has, and I already explained a certain detail that was already better than Ken's to begin with. The fact that the vortex in which Ryu had you in happened much faster than Ryu, so the sequence already was harder to read than Ken's. Let's check this out. And if you had like a comparison video, I know you would be able to see the difference between how fast Ryu was able to throw the opponent. So at least he has that still. But I don't see him being played any more different than how he's already being played now. hopefully, like by the time Capcom releases like the full balance patch, which they said would be one covering every character, and it would be an actual like real balance patch. This is more like a half-ish fucking balance patch. Hopefully by then he'll actually get some like crazy shit. But for now, Ryu's just relatively the same in my eyes. But at least he's not as bad as he was before, which I didn't even think he was bad to begin with. But maybe one day we'll have him contesting with some bitch ass motherfucker like this guy right here, which is the next character I'm gonna be going over. And yeah, we'll see y'all then.